Welcome to the new demo of my project, which I'm currently calling Open Fields, a combat system for the Western role-playing game that I'm trying to develop. If you haven't seen my previous demo, I'm not sure how much it's worth it. You should probably wait till my next demo. If anything here is missing, you should just wait till my next demo. So, I've implemented a few new features. I've added simple graphics. They used to be just circles. I've added a load and save scenario, a cover system, and I want to take a closer look at the quick draw kind of situation. So let me just show you what I have right here. Look, simple graphics. And if you don't remember, it takes about 20 seconds to reload. On the left, you can see there are a bunch of Union troops, and on the right, you see a bunch of Confederate troops. They are currently reloading for the most part. They're showing the reload icon, but as you saw there, as they reload, then they point their weapons at their opponent and they fire. And the rules that I have set up based on various tabletop role-playing games resolves whether or not they hit and where they hit. These characters, I'm going to pause and I'm going to zoom in. They are basically just ovals, lines, and circles, and that's the simple graphics that I'm willing to do at this time. So let me load a scenario, another scenario. So I just demonstrated that I can load scenarios. And I also have a new cover system. So this thicker line in the center represents a 3-foot high wall, so it's half cover. And this other line, this square, represents the cover area. So if a Confederate soldier shoots through this cover system at a Union soldier, and that Union soldier is within the bigger square, that signifies that this Union soldier is being covered. I could have tried to do some math based on 6-foot height, 3-foot wall, but I decided to just do it in this simpler way, and I will be removing this rectangular outline. I have two kinds of cover, full cover and half cover. This is half cover, which represents basically a 3-foot wall. Full cover means that if you shoot through it, Alexa, stop. If you shoot through it, then that person is completely protected. Also, I have the Union soldiers can be in 3 different positions. They could be standing, they could be crouching, or they could be prone. If they're prone, that means they're completely behind the cover of the wall. If they're crouching, then there's like a 33% chance that you're going to hit compared to your normal chance. And if you're standing, it cuts your chance of hitting in half. It also takes a certain amount of time to go from standing to crouching to prone. So when I run the scenario, you'll see that the Union soldiers fire second, because besides getting into position to fire, besides aiming, they have to crouch, and that gives them a slight time advantage. But the advantage they get from being behind cover pretty much outweighs the disadvantage they get from shooting second. If this continues, you'd see a lot more, as it continues, you see a lot more Union soldiers shoot and not really get hit, where most of the Confederate soldiers who don't have any cover will get hit a lot more. I've also modeled the two hit tables. It's kind of a manual way to handle the amount of space that you have available, or the amount of exposure you have. So if a Confederate soldier shoots a Union soldier and he's standing, the Union soldier is unlikely to get hit, is about 50% less likely to get hit. And if he does get hit, it's pretty much not going to hit his legs, and it's going to be less of a chance to hit his abdomen. So less of a chance of getting hit. But when he does get hit, it's more likely to actually hit a critical area. And that's even more true from crouching, because so much of his body is being protected that he only has like 66%, 33% exposure. which really reduces the chance that he's hit, but the parts of his body that he's exposing are the head and the chest and his arms, and so it's much more likely he's going to take serious damage. Let me load up the next scenario just as a brief. So in this scenario, instead of being 21 yards apart, these characters are 447 yards apart, 16,100 inches. I use an inch-based system. So if they start, I have these, there are 20 Confederate soldiers and only 10 Union soldiers, and I'm having Confederate soldiers charge the Union soldiers. So as they're moving, I don't have a follow camera, but I can adjust the screen. As they're charging, they're getting hit, they have no cover, and they're moving. The ones that get hit, if they get hit with serious wounds or a leg wound, then they'll slow down. Otherwise, they'll stay in formation. I don't have a morale system that makes them run at this time, so they're just going to charge until they die. And I'm not going to play this till the end, but 20 soldiers fighting against 10 soldiers behind cover. The 20 soldiers who are charging are going to kind of slowly get shot and fall to the wayside and basically die. So you need a lot more than a 2-to-1 advantage if you're especially at 400 yards. I'm gonna pause this and bring up another scenario where I could talk a little bit about the quick draw, which was basically implemented in the previous system. Oh, I messed this up. I'm going to take, oh, there it is, because I don't have a center. So basically, I set up this scenario with 4-on-4. These guys represent, and this represents the gunfight at the OK Corral. There's, on the left side, you can see it's Morgan Earp, then Wyatt Earp, then Virgil Earp, then Doc Holliday. And on the right-hand side, Ike Clanton, Frank McClary, Tom McClary, and Billy Clanton. And I think I used what people were wearing, colors that they were wearing in the movie Tombstone to try to come up with character colors, although black doesn't show up so well, so I decided to use gray for the Earps and Doc Holliday. In this, you get a little bit better view of how a gunfight works and how how the role-playing game stats, in this case, for Morgan Earp, his dexterity is 16, how their dexterity and their quick draw skills help determine who shoots first. I also have bullets taking a while to actually hit their target. Basically, I think it's 1,000 feet per second. So if you're a little bit slower, you still might get your shot off before any bullet could possibly hit you. So yeah, all the gunfights were staggered, and it looks like the McClarys won, which is unusual when I've run this scenario, because the Earps have better stats, but sometimes you miss. We don't see that a whole lot in movies, people missing, especially in a short gunfight situation. I think gunfight OK Corral, yes, but not usually in a quick draw situation. And if you miss, even if you're faster, if you miss and the other guy doesn't, you're dead. And that was actually mentioned a little bit in Unforgiven. So I'm going to move to showing off a smaller gunfight between, can I zoom in? No. Between Wyatt Earp, who has good stats, and Ike Clanton, who doesn't have good stats. Now, this is not a fair fight. Wyatt Earp's stats are so good that he almost never misses, and he's faster than Ike Clanton. So when you run it, Wyatt Earp just wins. He didn't shoot him dead the first time. He just wounded him, and Ike was stunned, so he didn't return fire by the time Wyatt fired another shot. One of the things that I actually do in here that I'm not going to demonstrate is that characters can rush their shots. So in this case, if you take a normal aim shot, which takes about a second, the player controlling Ike would know that he's going to get outdrawn by Wyatt. So he's going to rush Ike's shot. It's going to reduce the chance that he's going to hit, but at least he's probably going to get off the first shot. Now, Wyatt also has that option. He's almost certainly, with his stats, he's almost certainly going to hit with an aimed shot. But if he knows that Ike is going to take a quicker shot, he has a decision to make. Is he going to rush his shot? He's still going to have a better chance than Ike, but he's not necessarily, he might miss. So is he going to let Ike take a rushed shot, which is pretty much, has a small chance of hitting, or is he going to take and then kill Ike with the second shot, or is he going to rush his shot? Is Wyatt going to rush his shot, maybe miss, and let Ike take a shot after him? It's a decision that you just have to calculate, and I think that it represents a better combat system that way. I'm going to move it to a different scenario. Now this one, I have Doc Holliday versus Billy Clanton, and their stats are much more equal. So it's much more likely that having the first shot isn't going to make you an advantage. I'm letting them both take regular aim shots. They have almost simultaneous shots. And because they're both hit, they're both wounded. Doc Holliday took a serious headshot. Billy Clanton took a serious chest shot. In my system, whenever you take a hit, you take a little bit of a hesitation because whenever you're wounded, they're both hesitating, and both their speed is roughly equal. So they're both hesitating. Looks like Doc recovered first and took a shot at Billy Clanton and shot him in the chest, and then shot him in the head and killed him. End of story. I did a little bit of research on gunfights to see if this system felt right. I actually researched modern quickdraw competitions, and during those competitions, the amount of time between first place and second place winners of these competitions is often less amount of time than it would have taken for a bullet to have traveled between the two if they were, let's say, 21 feet apart. So even if you're slightly faster than the other person, that person's still going to get a good shot off at you. So the lethality of this system is pretty high. And remember that even like Wild Bill Hickok only has been really credited with 7 kills. He did not do that much gunfighting. That's mostly an invention of movies. So that's where this is right now. This project is written in Java. I'm in Eclipse, as you can see. I'm using JavaFx to help me out with it. But I'm ceasing, I'm stopping continued work on this. I'm actually moving to the Godot game engine, which I've been messing around with for the last couple of weeks instead of working on this. And so my next, so this demo, even though it isn't necessarily where I want it to be, I just want to demonstrate where I am right now because I'm not going to do anything else on it. And my next demo will be in Godot, taking advantage of some of the extra stuff that they have to develop this role-playing game with RTS movement. So thanks for making it through this demo, and hopefully you'll enjoy seeing how much progress I make in the next few demos.